in different ways with contradictions.
Yeah.
The Bible was written by over 40 people over 1,500 years.
I would say well over that.
Okay, listen.
Let Reds continue on his line of questioning.
Yeah, go ahead, guys.
That's a non sequitur. A lot of textbooks are written by multiple people. That makes no sense.
It doesn't. Okay, here's the thing. You said from a spiritual standpoint, they're not going to make the deception obvious. Which, let's go ahead and hypothetically say that there is one.
Yes.
If you want to go ahead and say that, that's fine. But if you want me to believe it, that's a different story.
I agree.
So the thing that's going to make me believe it is not hearsay from the Bible. The thing that's going to make me believe it is demonstrable evidence that I can go to and verify, which is something that flat earthers told me to do. That's why I'm surrounded by Nikon P900s and 1000 solar filters, telescopes, and a one-way trip ticket to NASA. You know, the reason why I've been doing this for so long is because I'm trying to actually make your case for you. But every time I go to find evidence of a flat earth, I come back with the same answer. It's round.
Red, let me ask you this real quick. You know that video you have of the supposed transit of ISS in front of the moon. How many other people have videos like that? You would think, History Channel, CNN, Fox News, all these science, big channels on YouTube and all these science outlets all over, the media, on mainstream media, they would have this as well. How many videos are there of the ISS transiting the moon?
I know of 15. I know of 15 on the top of my head.
Yeah,
I just think I've seen others too, but he has the most clearest of all.
Yeah, I have the clearest image of the ISS recorded with the flat earther camera of choice, the Nikon P900. But I also want to say that who the hell cares how many people have filmed it? The fact is that I filmed it. I showed you how you could film it. You can repeat the observation yourself.
Right.
Well, the thing is this:
3,
you would think
4,
people
5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, by the way, I just did a YouTube search for ISS lunar transit, and I'm counting the number of hits.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few.
Well, you have to remember there could be some repeats in there. You have to make sure they're different independent videos.
Why even do that? Why even count the repeats?
Go do it yourself.
RussianVids. If you have a capability of going online and arguing with me, then you have the capability of going to that video, going to the description, click the link that says ISS Transit Finder, and doing the observation yourself.
Yeah, Reds, let me ask a question, Reds. If he was to do that, right, and he would say, okay, according to these calculations from this model, which I think we all agree that model is predicated on a round Earth, right?
It is.
Okay, so if he did this, and he said, okay, at this specific time, it says there should be a transit of the ISS across the face of the moon. And he gets out there and he sets it all up and he has, a decent enough camera because it happens pretty quickly. I mean, no question you had to slow down that video, did you not, in order to actually have resolution? Okay. So
TIE fighter.
So how long does it actually take to do a transit? I mean, a split second? I can't even imagine. It's pretty quick, I'm sure, right?
Yes, it is quick. The ISS is traveling 4.7 miles per second.
Yeah, so it's nothing that you won't see it go very slowly. It just zips. But so if he did this, right, would at that point, RussianVids, would you have to say that the model works, regardless of whether you agree with it or not? The model made a correct prediction.
Well, I'll say this. Several people have recorded it. The bottom line is, it doesn't tell you the distance. It could be like, say a so-called satellite that's, you could
use the math to tell you the distance.
Thank you for bringing that back up, because here's the beautiful thing. What I brought up before about actively measuring the distance to the moon, you can take that measurement, then use the parallax from an ISS transit and get the actual size of the moon.
Exactly.
Hang on. And not only that, but I actually measured the altitude and the speed and the size of the ISS with my buddy Astronomy Live, because we were measuring parallax. From that observation, which is listed on my channel, because you're not the first one to say it was a balloon or a drone or a spy plane or some shit like that, I was able to demonstrate that that object, whatever it is actually in space and traveling at the speed that NASA, the nameless, faceless they, says it is.
Reds, weren't you able to figure out the distance with like a percentage error or something.
If I remember correctly, we were within 1.5%.
And that was just from you viewing it and doing the calculations using trigonometry.
That was from myself and Astronomy Live being 1.11 kilometers apart, him using his LX200 telescope, me using a Nikon P900, the flat earther camera of choice, to demonstrate that via parallax, you can actually figure out the altitude of the ISS. And guess what? That altitude is higher than any balloon, any plane, and traveling at a speed that if it were in the atmosphere, it would burn up.
Okay, what is the altitude of your typical so-called satellite in space?
Now, when you say typical, geostationary or low Earth orbit?
I don't care. Whatever you so-called have in space as far as satellites are concerned, why don't we see
have satellites? We have satellites at many different altitudes. You have to be clear. Yeah, if you want to be let's just pick a good satellite like the Hubble Space Telescope. It's around 400 miles in altitude.
Yeah, just FYI, RussianVids low. Hey, Russian. Low. When you say low Earth orbit, that is a wide variety. That goes from 99 miles to 1,200 miles. I believe it is 99 to 1,200 miles. That's a huge range for low Earth orbit.
Steve, there should be some type of average, depth supposedly in space. These satellites are. I'm not.
Yes, and that's called geostationary, which is around 35,000 kilometers or 22,000 miles.
Okay, we don't see any of these obviously transit the moon. So
actually, we do, because in that particular video where I actually captured the International Space Station, if you look really carefully, just before the ISS transited, I actually captured a satellite transiting the moon.
You're the first one in human history to do that, then, I guess.
No, I'm not the first one in human history. I'm the first one in human history to do it with a Nikon P900, the flat earther camera of choice.
But why does it matter if he's the first one in history to do it?
That matters.
Well, it should be observable by many people. Many people have these cameras. Is he the only one that will have
Then go do it. Then go out and do it.
There are so many apps that RussianVids. Shh, I'm talking. RussianVids. You can get so many apps. I'm talking. The adults are talking here. Be quiet. You can get a whole bunch of apps to tell you exactly where
all right, come on, control.
One at a time.
Okay, right. Kyle. Let's be respectful here. We can have a debate and be respectful, and we don't talk over each other. People hate when people are just talking over each other. It's freaking annoying. So if you ask me nicely, hold on, RussianVids, give me 1 minute. If you go, shh, that's not polite, man. Have some common courtesy.
I'm sorry. To be honest, it's just really hard to have any respect for flat earthers. I'm sorry.
No, I have no respect for you because you're disrespectful.
Well, see, the thing is, we can fix this. We can fix this, all right? Before we get too crazy. Here's how we fix this, okay? RussianVids subscribes to a lot of conspiracies. So just forget he's a flat earther and focus on the OJ setup conspiracy. That's what he is. So he's not a flat earther. He's an OJ. Yes, Reds.
I need to clarify one thing.
Yes.
For my video. Okay,
sure.
So to make sure that people understand this, I knew for a fact that one of the major complaints about my video was that my video is the best, or it's the first time anyone's ever do it, which is why it has 2.6 million views as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that even though, I am maybe one of the first to get such a clear image of it with a Nikon P900, I put in the description the link that I used to do it, the camera I used to do it. I told people the tripod I used to do it. I told people my location when I did it. And I gave them every parameter so that they could do it yourself. Yes, I may be the only one, but I don't want to be the only one. I want other people to do that. I want other people to double check my work and say, okay, if this is bullshit, I should be able to go into Red's description, click this link, and put it to the test and see absolutely nothing happen in front of the moon. But instead, what people decide to do is bitch, moan, and complain about that CNN isn't covering my nonsense.
Mm-hmm. Well, Reds, let me just say this, Reds. Bottom line is this. The more footage, we can see from different angles, and we can get, this could be objective truth instead of, hey, wait a second, why is there only one guy in Florida who's a plumber doing this? And your buddy, Astronomy Live, he's the only one that had footage. Oh,
Could it be though, RussianVids? Let me throw my hat in the ring here. Hilarious. Could it be just that it's so accepted that the International Space Station is up there zipping around that it's just it's a niche thing? You know what I mean? Like the people who want to get it on camera do, and those that don't, they're not questioning whether it's up there or not. Well, they know it's up there.
And even then, to directly address your question about why aren't these news outlets covering it whenever it happens, it just might be because they don't give a fuck about actual information, and they are about advertising and making money.
Yeah.
No. There's plenty of so-called scientists out there that want to, this is, something amazing, like a so-called, a solar eclipse, for example. Something of this nature, everybody wants to see. They're interested. We're going to see a transit of the ISS in front of the moon. This is something of interest. There should be a lot of coverage for it. There's not.
Hey, RussianVids, I can tell by the sound of your voice that you're very interested. So my question is, why haven't you done it then?
I don't have a P900 camera. That's the honest answer. I don't have one.
You don't need a P900.
You don't need a P900. I had a P900 because I'm a idiot with my money, and Flat Earthers told me to get it, and I got it, and it ended up pissing them off. So I guess it paid for itself. But you can actually get a cheapo camera from Walmart at like 45 optical zoom, and you will still be able to see the ISS transit at the moon. Granted, not as clear as what I got, but you will still be able to see it, and it will be good enough to confirm that what I showed in my video is actually fact.
Well, the bottom line is this, guys. All these flat Earth versus globe debates, it'd be cut to the chase if, again, there's more objectable proof of this globe. For example, show me anybody on this panel that believes we live on this spinning ball, traveling, 500,000 miles an hour with the sun, through space. Why isn't there a school textbook giving the curvature rate, of this so-called ball Earth that we live on? There's not one school textbook that gives this information. You could look up, your favorite NFL players, how many touchdowns he has thrown in a season, but you cannot go through any history or science book, and they cannot demonstrate or give you the equations for the ball Earth. Why is that?
Then you're looking at the wrong place.
Yeah, they can.
You're saying that textbooks have player stats from the NFL?
I'm making an example. Do you understand? What I'm saying?
Yes, it's called a false equivocation, is what they're doing right now.
It should be like, this is the curve. For example, Steve, or anybody here, what is the curve of the Earth from New York to San Francisco? What is it? It should be, you should Google it, you should find it in a book.
You know what? I don't know the numbers, but I'll tell you how to do it. And then, Reds, you back me up if this is correct or not, because you do a lot more than I do. What I would do is I would find, because the Earth is round, I would take a chord from New York from LA, right? Because that's your point to point. That's 2 points on the circle, and then you could figure out from the distance the amount of curvature that's above that chord, right? And I don't know the math to do it. I mean, but you could figure that out because if you know from point to point and you know the distance directly, right, and you know the distance over the curve, I'm sure you could use some math to tell you how much curvature there actually is there.
Square root of r plus x to the second minus r to the second.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
sure.
Bottom line is this: we should be able to Google it. We should Google it, miles, from San Francisco to New York, and it should be there. There's nothing out there.
I just explained to you how to do it. Reds gave you the formula, which he has memorized. He actually, I think, I'm not lying. I'm not lying.
Everyone stop.
Wait, Reds, do you or do you not? Do you have that formula tattooed on your ass? Because I really want to know.
Because I've heard you do. So alpha equals 2 times the arctan of G over 2r tattooed
it's
on my
his
other
left
cheek.
buttock.
But to answer RussianVids' question, it's 3.8 million 105,000. Hang on, 3.8 million, and it is in feet. So it's 3.8 million feet below the horizon if you're standing in California and looking at New York.
That's the curvature. And how did you obtain this information?
Math.
Square root of r plus x to the second minus r to the second. I literally said this shit like 45 seconds ago.
Listen, I understand you're throwing out numbers, but you have to give me a source of where you're getting this information from.
If you
geometry.
We all can look it up.
Reality.
I googled it and there is a site fit.
Geometry is where I'm getting this from,
I want a source of where you're obtaining this information. So
geometry.
I
use the calculator in Windows.
Listen, No.
Are you asking where we can get the information on how far it is from one place to another? Because that's called Google Maps.
Listen, Google Maps. Why does Google have a fleet of planes? That's all they use.